Welcome to Petty Revenge, where we share fascinating everyday life stories. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next captivating stories. I am 33, and my wife is 27. We married 6 months ago after dating for a year. We met online, and after some dates, we started a serious relationship and quickly got married. I'm a nerd. When a pretty attractive girl is interested in me, who told me she loved me, etc., I was blinded by delight. I would have done anything for her up to that point, and she knew it. I work a lot because I own a small business, so I travel a lot for work. I was never home during the week. I was making $150,000 a year before taxes, and she didn't work. First, she was 100% reliant on me for her survival. She's a bit lazy, but I figured that was because I kind of allowed her to. And she was never really one to do housework or cook or clean, so it didn't seem odd to me that not a lot of it was done, etc. 6 months into the marriage, my wife broke the news to me that she was pregnant. I was out of town, so I had to drop everything. I was making $150,000 a year before taxes, and she didn't work. First, she was 100% reliant on me for her survival. She's a bit lazy, but I figured that was because I kind of allowed her to. And she was never really one to do housework or cook or clean, so it didn't seem odd to me that not a lot of it was done, etc. 6 months into the marriage, my wife broke the news to me that she was pregnant. I was out of town, so I had to drop everything. The following day, I took her to a clinic. They confirmed that she was 2 months pregnant. A week later, I came home from the office just to grab something I needed for a job. I was heading to my wife's car was in the garage, so I knew she was home. When I opened the door, I heard noises coming from the bedroom, so I followed the noise. As it gets louder and louder before I arrived at the bedroom, I'd already had an idea of what was going on. They made it easy for me by leaving the door open. I walked in, and there she was riding another guy. The next thing that came out of her mouth was that it's not what it looks like. Mind you, she was 2 months pregnant at the time. Words couldn't explain how I felt watching her ride another guy in my own bedroom. I had been getting my mind ready to become a dad. I had built my world around her, doing everything to make her comfortable, and there she was riding another man in my bedroom. Now I know what she's all about. They both looked at me as I looked at them in shock. I turned around and walked away from the room as she jumped off his horse to tell me that I didn't see what I just saw, like I was some stupid dimwit. I composed myself. I went ahead and grabbed what I needed and left quickly. Before I left, I turned around and told her that she should be gone when I got back. I was a mess as I drove back to work. My mind was somewhere else. I was lucky that I didn't have an accident. I thought about all the time that she said she loved me and how it was all lies. I honestly didn't have a clue, but then again, my job and not being around did help her do what she did during the week. I felt like she played the role well, and I never suspected a thing. She would have me support her through her pregnancy and then raise another man's child. My wife was blowing up my phone and leaving voice messages, but I didn't answer. When I arrived at the office, I called a friend of mine who waited about 2 hours and then went to my place. My friend told me that she had left, taking essentials with her, that I went to Home Depot and changed all the locks on the house. I found out that she was staying with her family, so I called my lawyer and served her divorce papers. The most important thing that he told me, though, is to keep my mouth shut. Don't take calls from her family or friends. And if I did from mutual friends, be polite. But if the conversation moved to anything related to the divorce, simply have no comment and let him speak for me. Because had I reacted to her family and etc., that could be used against me. I could have really upped the ante, though, had I not listened to him. For sure, but he wasn't about to let me stick my foot in my mouth. Thankfully, he was right for sure on that. Not that I really wanted to start anything, but they could have started something with me and then blame me as well. We coordinated for a text message when she would like to come to pick up her fence. So the following weekend, my friend stood in for me while she removed the rest of her stuff. She hid back at me by hiring a divorce lawyer and requesting $2,000 in alimony a month for 5 years. She claimed that the pregnancy was mine, and she needs money to support herself, and for me to keep her on my health insurance. Insane. I could have easily really gotten pissed when she put the alimony demands in her reply. It's probably good it went to my attorney first. And then he told me, because he told me in the manner of, she may think she's gonna get this, but it's not going to happen. I didn't have a problem with sharing things I acquired during our marriage, etc., because I just want her the heck out. But I wasn't going to reward her monthly for 5 years for her bad behavior and continue to pay her health insurance and raise a child that obviously isn't mine. Heck no. She can find all the guys she screwed to let them support her. When I spoke to my attorney about how to get around the alimony and all the extra stuff because I wasn't looking forward to doing that, he was concerned that she didn't work. I was making $150,000 a year before taxes. Thus, she was 100% reliant on me for her survival, basically. Obviously, we moved to get it totally struck, which happened. But his concern was that if we didn't get it struck, to get it reduced way down due to what she did. It's really not something written, no. Probably something you could prove statistically. But basically, he told me that most of the courts favored the woman. He fears that her attorney would paint me as an enabler and that it was my fault she cheated. I was never there during the week. Never mind that we were together for almost a year prior, and it's not like the job was new. I have been at it for over 3 years at that point. The only difference may have been that maybe I worked an hour less or so during then, but it was still 60-ish hours a week. Usually, it's 60 to 80. Now, 6+ years later. So if I had not caught her, she would be more enabled now, supposedly. That's why he went in strong. Turned out to probably be overkill, but I have to be honest. I am a computer geek, so I have to go with what he told me. He was the one with the experience in it, and obviously he wasn't one with a 100% win record as well, so he knew what was up. My attorney was looking for evidence of infidelity to help my case in the divorce, so he recommended that I hire a private investigator to gather some more evidence we could use in court to help my case. My attorney hired him on my behalf, though I paid him directly $6,200. To say that he did his job well was an understatement. He did quite well, so well that I hoped that I would never have him against me in such a situation. I would also mention that he did check up on me too. Not like he did her, but just to make sure for the attorney's sake that I wasn't hiding an affair or similar. Either way, had we divorced and I couldn't prove that she was the one that caused it, I would have been supporting her for a few years. Usually, it's around 5, but depending on the situation, it can be till she remarries. Though nowadays that's pretty rare, I guess. Don't have a job like mine. Not even a few days after hiring the private investigator, he captured her hanging out with the same guy I caught her in bed with. I made a mistake by not canceling my credit card that she had access to. So she went out with her lover that evening and ran them all up about $5,000 or so. They were not major limit cards. I had only had them to help my credit score earlier, and because I was making good money. Now I have been on a cash-only basis for a long while, which is probably why I forgot. A month later, the private investigator discovered that she had been cheating through the entire marriage and prior. The private investigator was able to find 2 guys she had been with but dumped. They agreed to sign affidavits with the attorney. Additionally, the private investigator took a crapload of pictures as well. From the testimonies of the affair partners, we found out that my 60 to 80 work week played right into her plans. She didn't mess around on the weekends, and the boyfriend she had knew it. It was well planned out by her. When the private investigator talked to the 2 that she had ticked off enough to write affidavits, they were pretty open about that. You didn't call her or text her unless she did first, etc. The private investigator is what saved me. He was able to locate prior people she had dated, and 2 of them were mad enough to sign sworn statements stating that she cheated on me and knowingly did things to prevent me from knowing. I think alimony in some situations works in a relationship where the man or woman makes significantly more money than the other, or the one spouse doesn't work, and they are married for 10+ years. The spouse not working or not making much would be at a disadvantage in the job market because of large breaks in unemployment. Most employers will look at that and hire someone more recently employed. In that case, I would understand supporting income for, say, half the duration of the marriage term. But in my case, she's the one who cheated. I didn't see it. I wasn't going to reward her for her deception and behavior that ended it. The private investigator took pictures of her out with a lot of guys, mostly proving her behavior. They were not really needed, but part of the process. He traced back by talking to some of them and getting two of them who felt jilted by her because she dumped them were the ones that influenced the judge's decision. They not only stated that they were with her during the time we were married, and one was seeing her prior to our wedding. Also, by the way, but they also stated that she was deceiving me not to call during weekends when I was home, never coming to the house, don't call me till I call you, etc. Roughly a month after I kicked her out, the private investigator discovered during his investigation that she went to a club and engaged with about 10 guys in the back room. She must have been 3 months pregnant back then. I basically had no contact with her from the moment I called her till our court date. I did have calls from her family, harassing calls I might add, and my ex-father-in-law called about a month after it was finalized, and she lost. Accusing me of ruining his daughter's life, I let him yell and then offered to have the attorney send him a copy of the data the private investigator collected. She, of course, portrayed me as her. I was the one sleeping around, the one she caught in bed with one of her female friends, etc. So he agreed. My lawyer sent the data with the names of the guys retracted and similar. He called me back about 2 weeks later, told me he was sorry for yelling at me, and then all contact from her family stopped finally. But basically, the private investigator was the one who found out everything. He did the research, and the attorney was the one who got it all legally formatted and ready for the hearing. At least according to my attorney at the time, the court always favors the female, especially in situations with children, which I kind of get. So I was lucky. I dodged the bullet. But his statement to me was, we are going to have to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that she was the cause of this divorce, get the amount reduced or eliminated. Luckily, with the help of the private investigator and some people she pissed off along the way, we were able to do so. I still make lawyer jokes, but honestly, they are worth every penny, and then some. I would never make fun of a private investigator, though. At least the really good ones. He dug up stuff that I have never known about. During the divorce, I didn't see compensation from her running up my credit card. I make good money at the time. I was about $150,000 before tax a year. Now $250,000 before tax a year. So I just paid them off and chalked it up to my mistake. I didn't cancel them, so I was legally liable for the charges. Going after her for the money would have been worthless. I would have never seen it. I basically wanted out of it, which is why I let her take her stuff and most of the stuff we got as wedding gifts and the stuff I bought her. I wanted her out of my life. I wanted reminders of our marriage out of my house, etc. The only thing I didn't want to do was pay her $2,000 a month for around 5 years, which is the average my attorney said happens, or have anything to do with her unborn child. I felt that would have been an insult to me. I would have been rewarding and endorsing her behavior, and basically I would be funding it some more for the term that I had to pay it. As for the rest of it, I was willing to eat the cost in exchange for it to be final and her out of my life. I fell for what I believed was a game she was playing as well. That was one of the costs I ate to ensure that I would get done in the time frame required. At the time of that divorce, it took 6 months and 1 day in California to complete the process entirely. It's now something like 6 weeks if there's no contest. Supposedly my divorce was emotionally hard, and I don't look for sympathy when I talk about it. I hope that maybe someone else will learn from it, or maybe see signs that I didn't see. I can think back now sometimes and think, maybe that was a sign, and I was too blind to see it. I do still analyze and continue to analyze it. I know a lot of people who unfortunately seem to not only like to create the battle, but enjoy it when they get worse. I just wanted out and didn't have time to really do that kind of thing. At the point I caught her, it went from me working hard for us back to working hard for myself, which I think in the long run helps things. I had more time to myself. It will probably have been more tempting. The attorney, all told, cost about $12,000. 6 months of alimony. The attorney told me I would probably have to pay her about 5 years monthly, so I saved quite a bit on that for sure. It's possible it could have gone longer than that had the George root for it. Basically, his call. She didn't get the $2,000 a month once the judge saw all this at the final hearing to finalize the divorce. After the divorce was final, I haven't seen her again, but I know she's in Arizona because she tried to get credit in my name there 3 times. I don't know if she decided to keep the pregnancy, but I am highly positive that it wasn't mine, and she was most likely trying to get me to raise another man's baby. I got played, and I will admit it. I don't deny my role in it for sure. I think every day she has to live makes it harder on her. Although she doesn't know me anymore, obviously she knows was that she had it well, but she played her game and lost. I kept right on going, slowly growing the business I partially owned and my income as well. I think her knowing that, or possibly finding out someday, or maybe through the grapevine, she could very well still communicate with some of our common friends, but I don't ask them if she does. Yeah, she hurt me. Yeah, she tried to insult me by wanting money as a reward. She didn't get it, and I'm still carrying on. I think that's more punishment than death. To me, that is too easy off and out for someone like her. A lot of people think I should have reacted differently when I caught them in my bed and not walk away from my house. I can understand what you're saying. I was there, trust me, I thought about it. Then I realized later on, after going over it in my mind, that it was best that I turned around and walked out instead of starting a fight or worse. I could have easily got physical. I will be the first one to admit I got scammed. The more I look back on it, the more I think she never loved me. I was just a meal ticket to her. I will admit my role in it. I gave her the perfect setup. Never come home during the week, and when I came home, I was tired and wanting to sleep because I had another day ahead of me. She just had to be sure she was home before me and sleeping when I got there. And me being the type that doesn't mind keeping her apprised of what's going on, she always knew when I would be. I got played, and I played right into it. I'm just glad that the STD test I got 2 days after I caught her came back clean. Thank you for making it to the end of this story. Don't forget to share your opinion in the comment section. Make sure you thumbs up this video and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.